Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Okay, so you're a professional. You have an upper intermediate to advanced level of English or higher, and still you freeze in meetings when it's your turn to talk, or maybe you want to say something or you want to contribute and you freeze or you're nervous. And that's just a little barrier that's stopping you from being the best you in online calls, online meetings, or meetings that are in person. This happens to all of us. Don't worry, I've got you covered. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through phrases which I use as a native English speaker when I have to meet with a lot of people, phrases that make me kind of feel more confident, set the tone for what I'm going to say, kind of where I can jump into a conversation. And all of these phrases I've taught to my business English students who do business internationally. These phrases do work. Don't let your great ideas, your input, your contributions stay inside your throat when you're in a meeting. Let's get them out there and contribute. Let's get started. Okay, so it's an online meeting or an in person meeting, and you want to show that you have great ideas. You want to show that you have experience. You want to show what's happening in your department or in your country. You want to share your expertise. You want to share your opinion on something. You want to give your 2 cents. If you don't know 2 cents, it's a great idiom. It just means your opinion on something. And you want to do this, you need to do this to show how professional you are. You need to do this to show how good you are. And sometimes that fear of making a mistake in English, that fear of crickets in the room. If you don't know crickets, crickets are the insects. I think they rub their legs together or their wings together. And you hear, I'll put a cricket in the video so you understand what I mean. Um, Crickets are, you hear these insects when it's really, really quiet and silent. So we use this as a kind of an idiomatic phrase in English, saying there's crickets in the room, like total silence. So you don't want to have total silence when you start speaking in English. So this happens, that fear will stop you from speaking and contributing, which you cannot do if you want to thrive in business English environments. So here are some great phrases for different situations that you can start with this little phrase or sentence and then move on to what you want to say. By starting with this phrase, it's a way of kind of entering a conversation, setting the tone professionally. I really recommend what you do here is you take a few of these that you like, that match your personality, your professionalism, your tone. I mean, it, when it comes to speaking any language, you want to still be yourself. So make sure if some of these you're like, "Oh, I wouldn't say that in my native language." Well, don't say it in English. But if you would say something like that in your native language, copy the English one. I really recommend using post-it notes. Oh my goodness. If you are doing meetings online, I really recommend writing a couple of these that you like for different situations, popping a post-it note right next to your camera. People can't tell if you're reading if it's next to your camera. Pop it there, and then it just gives you a visual prompt to enter the meeting. If you're meeting in person, just practice a few key ones or just write them on your notes and go, okay, I'm going to start with this. And at least your opening line is going to be perfect English. At least the opening phrase you're going to say is going to set the tone for what you're going to say next. All of these are tried, tested, and true. They work. I really do hope they will help you, but I know they will help you because they're all fantastic phrases and words here. Okay, the first one here is when you're in a meeting and people are talking about different ideas, different solutions, different ideas, different contributions to a project or a product or streamlining something or planning for next quarter, whatever the case may be, if someone's mentioning something and you have something you want to add to what they mentioned, instead of saying, "Oh, can I add? I'd like to add." No, don't say that. Say, "I'd like to build on that point. I'd like to build on what Bob said." So to build on, I'd like is a contraction of I would like to build on. Now, when you say build, I'm sure in your language as well, words, there's like a psychological weight that goes along with certain words. Say, can I add to that? I'd like to add to that. That's so simple, that's so sheepish. If you say, I'd like to build on that. This just means, wow, I have like a big brick, big rock I want to add to this. So it's kind of setting the stage for what you're going to say that's going to be something that people want to listen to. And it's going to be something that's going to be important. So if you do have a suggestion, or you do have data, or a bit of expertise, or some experience, or something very important to add to something you're talking about, what if you want to add to what someone else said, I'd like to build on said what Maria said, or I'd like to build on that idea, or that um, or that project, whatever they're saying. You replace a noun, but I'd like to build on that, and it just means what I'm adding is going to be something to help build that foundation. So this is a really strong phrase. I'd like to build on that, and by saying I'd like to, you're being very polite and professional, not saying I'm going to build on that. No, that's a bit pushy. Or can I build on that? And that's a bit too sheepish. You kind of want to be in the middle. So I'd like to is a perfect English, the perfect language. Next one here, if someone is speaking and you need to understand this meeting, I mean, why are you in the meeting? You're in the meeting to learn and contribute and to meet and to share ideas. So sometimes people can use words or terms you're not familiar with. I mean, if you're doing business in English and you're dealing with international teams, I mean, there can be a lot of areas of gray, which, I mean, black area, white area, that's all very clear, but gray area was you're not so clear on it. So if someone is saying something or talking about an idea or a process and you're not totally sure about that one term or the entire idea, you can say a quick clarifying question, so I'm on the same page. Now, by saying a quick clarifying question, so I'm on the same page, this is so perfect. I really recommend you just copy this whole thing and just practice it. So, a clarifying question means I'm going to ask a question to clarify, meaning it doesn't mean I don't understand your English or what you're saying. So, this is actually quite nice. You're not saying I don't understand you, or I don't understand that word, or I don't understand that concept. So, this you're not going to lose any professionalism or any of your level of English by saying this. It's not like saying I don't understand, although it is, but it's not for people hearing you. So, a quick clarifying question. So, I'm on the same page. So, a clarifying question means I want this to be clarified. So, you're kind of putting the onus on the other person as if they didn't present it in a clear enough way for you to understand it. It's not at all rude by any means, but you're kind of putting the responsibility on them, that they need to clarify it because what they said wasn't clear enough for you. It's not about your understanding, it's about the words that they used. So, this is a very, very great technique. Now, by adding that little word quick before, people love this. This is a meeting. When someone says, I'd like to clarify, or I have a question, people in meetings go, oh, how long is this going to take? How long is this meeting going to be? I have a 4 o'clock, right? So by adding that word quick, people are so much more open and responsive to you. So quick is a great word. If you do need to ask a question in a meeting, quick question or a quick clarifying question, so I'm on the same page. Now, again, when you say quick question, it means I have a quick question, but a quick clarifying question means I need to clarify what you just said. So then you're going to continue that with a paraphrase of what someone just said. So someone was speaking and you're not totally sure of the one term they used or the entire concept you think you understand, but you're not totally sure. Even online meetings have translators. Well, translators don't always work so well, especially with idioms and phrasal verbs or some bits of slang. So, quick clarifying question, and so I'm on the same page. On the same page means I have the same understanding as you. This is a really strong business English idiom. If you don't have enough business English idioms, I have an entire podcast where I'm reading through and putting on screen my entire book. I think it's on the shelf behind me. The Ultimate A to Z of Business English Idioms. It's over 320 essential business English idioms. I'll link to it here in the video. So if you don't have enough idioms, you need them for business English. And you can click on that podcast and just listen away and learn them all. A quick clarifying question, so I'm on the same page. And then you're going to go into a paraphrase. Did you mean that this? Did you mean we're going to do this? did you mean this? So you're going to paraphrase what you understood from what someone just said. And someone will say, yep, that's exactly what we're doing. Or no, we're doing this. And they're going to explain it to you a little bit deeper. They're going to paraphrase it. So if you don't understand something, this is what you say, and it's fantastic. It's beautiful, and it does not mean you didn't understand. It means you want more clarification, which means you're more professional because you do want that one person to dive deep and you want to make sure you're on the same page as people. This is beautiful, a golden sentence. I really recommend you write this down and use it. Next one is when there's a big meeting and it kind of maybe a town hall or a catch up or a monthly meeting, whatever the case may be, when people are kind of going around the room talking about their departments or going around the room, or if it's on a phone or on a phone call, not a phone call, on a video call, on online meetings, and people have to give their input of what's happening, their part of the project or from their location or their branch or their department, whatever it may be. You just say from operations, this is what's happening. From shipping, I see a different perspective. From sales, we see a different pattern. From marketing, this all sounds good. So by saying from and then your department, as opposed to I think, it separates you a little bit, makes you sound like you're representing an entire department. And this is really great. So this does come in handy if maybe you're in a meeting and you're talking about launching a new product line. And finance goes, yeah, we have the budget for the marketing. And sales goes, yep, we have clients who are ready to sign for this. And well, from operations, I'm seeing a different pattern. And you're saying from operations, I'm seeing a different pattern. And this means a different pattern means numbers, stats, reports, meaning we don't have the manpower to fulfill this new product launch. So I'm seeing a different pattern means not everything's all blue and sunbeams and growing and fantastic. I'm seeing a little up and down with staff retention. I'm seeing a little up and down with performance, whatever the case may be. If you see a different pattern, it just means from my department, things are not the same. And then you can go into more details on that. And this is a great one. Now, another one here would be when you're in a meeting and my mouse keeps falling down. When you're in a meeting and people are talking about different ideas, brainstorming, solving an issue. Of course, issue means problem in business English. We don't want to use negative words in business English. So there's an issue out there. You need to solve an issue. You're having a meeting. What are we going to do about client B? What are we going to do about this department? How are we going to save money next quarter? What do you guys think about, an acquisition of company B? Whatever the case may be, you're in a meeting. And if you want to give your 2 cents, now your 2 cents means your opinion. If you want to give your professional expertise, if you want to give a little bit of experience you've had, if you want to give your insights to something, but you don't know if it's going to be well received. You don't know if people will not like that idea. Maybe they'll laugh at that idea. Maybe that idea does not at all work in this market, but you think it's worth mentioning. You're going to start this idea with, if it helps. If it helps. If it helps, I can share some experience I had at my previous employer. If it helps, this worked really well with client B. If it helps, I think this might be a good way to go because it worked in this situation. So by starting a sentence with if it helps, it means, it means what I'm presenting you next could possibly help this situation, could possibly solve these problems we're trying to figure out. But by using that little word if, again, there's so much psychology that goes along with words, especially in business English, and saying, if it helps, if people think that's a bad idea, you will not lose any credibility by presenting that idea because you said, if it helps, right? You're not saying, we should do this. I think we should do this. Why don't we do this? No, you're saying, if it helps, we could do this. And so if your idea completely falls flat means it's not really, it's not, people don't love it, or it's, it's not really the direction we're going in. Doesn't matter. You're not going to lose any credibility professionally. So you could just throw out any ideas you have if you start it with, if it helps. we can do this. If it helps, I think this is what might be a possibility. This could possibly work if it helps. And just by putting, it's like a disclaimer. And if it's not a great idea, if it's not well received, that's fine because you've already said if it helps and you won't lose any credibility there. So don't be nervous about saying anything after that if it helps because you said if. And that actually does kind of give a little bit of a disclaimer. Disclaimer is like a little, like the fine print, a little star at the bottom of a contract. And that's exactly what it means. Okay, another one here is two thoughts, one thought, three thoughts. This seems so simple. This doesn't even seem like good English. It's perfect English. So you're in a meeting and you want to give your thoughts on something. Now, if you have one thought to share on a topic, if you have two thoughts to share on a topic, three thoughts to share on a topic, start your sentence that way. So, for example, maybe your company's looking at expanding into, I don't know, expanding into the Asian market. Two thoughts on this. I'm not sure we have the infrastructure to service these areas, and no one in our department is familiar with Asian policies or the Asian market when it comes to working. So you're giving by saying one thought on this, two thoughts on this, three thoughts on this. People will know what you're going to say. You're going to say one thing, two things, or three things. I mean, don't say four thoughts. No one, that's too many. But just by saying two thoughts on this, or even just two thoughts, you can take out on this. It just means people are going to know you're going to list your two ideas or your two bits of feedback that you have on this. This is fantastic. Another one would be, I'm just going to jump in for a minute here. Can I just jump in with a number here? Can I just jump in with an idea here? So saying, can I just jump in? Just is a really strong word sometimes. Sometimes you want to avoid saying just. If it's something important, don't use just. If you say just a quick question, if it's an important question, don't say just. Okay. But if you're saying, can I just jump in for a second? And it just means I'm going to jump in for a second with some information you need. So let's say, I don't know, you're in a meeting and they're talking about numbers, and their numbers they're talking about do not match the numbers from your department or from your report saying, so you need to insert yourself in that conversation. You need to not necessarily interrupt them, but you need to get involved in that conversation. They're talking about numbers that don't align with your numbers. So why? Do they have the wrong numbers? Do I have the wrong numbers? Are we talking about two different things? So can I just jump in with for a second here? Can I just jump in with my numbers? Which just means, can I just jump in? And by saying just, it means I'm just going to insert myself very quickly here. So can I just jump in? I mean, my numbers don't match your numbers. Oh, we're looking at the numbers from our most successful year, 2023. Oh, okay, I'm looking at this year's numbers. Okay, that makes sense. Continue. So this is very good to say, can I just jump in for a second here? Can I just jump in with a number here? Can I just jump in with an idea here? So by saying, can I just jump in with an idea, a bit of feedback, some numbers here. This is great. People know it's going to be small, it's going to be short, and people appreciate it. Okay, I hope you found these phrases useful and you've learned something new today. What I'll do is I'll make sure these are all in a PDF in the comments of the video, so you can just click on it and download the PDF and use these in your next meeting. I wish you a lot of luck. And again, don't let your great ideas, your professionalism, your thoughts, your expertise stay inside you. Add these little phrases or sentences before what you want to say in a meeting when you want to jump in. And it's going to help you feel a lot more confident and present yourself more professionally in English. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy my video, I encourage you to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me.